Welcome to the Training Portal podcast, where we delve into the heart of growth and transformation, both personal and professional. I'm your host, Melissa Mostert, and every fortnight, I'll be sharing a meaningful conversation over coffee with industry leaders, innovators, and changemakers. My guest today is someone you may know from the stage, the screen, or perhaps from a memorable moment that made you laugh and think. But today we're catching up with Barry Hilton at a fascinating point in his journey, one of reflection, reinvention, and a bold new direction. After decades as one of South Africa's most recognizable comedic voices, Barry is now transitioning into corporate speaking, using his insight, storytelling, and experience to connect with audiences on a deeper level. We'll talk about how his early days in the industry, the changing landscape of public commentary, and the launch of his new venture, My Life in 3D and Talk Funny. This is a conversation about more than just career shifts. It's about legacy, impact, and the power of reinvention. So, Barry, thank you so much.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's an absolute pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you. I was really excited when I found out that I got to sit down with you.
That's good. I'm really excited because I've changed directions completely.
Oh, yes.
From being just a stand-up comic, now I do serious inspirational talks. But my serious talks
things
are seriously funny, if that makes sense.
I mean, sometimes I think that's the best way to talk about serious topics.
Absolutely.
So Barry, you're making quite a bit of a life change, moving away from comedy.
Absolutely.
Now, I first want to, I know you probably speak about it all the time, but let's start at the beginning.
Okay. One day, my mother got drunk and said to my father, "Go on then, just once."
Okay. But, okay. But in all seriousness, what got you into comedy?
Need.
Yeah,
I hated my life. I always used to use humor as my vehicle to get through, to meet people and all that stuff, but subconsciously. I didn't really, I knew I could make people laugh, but I didn't realize the power of humor. And as in my talk, my father was a strict tradesman, and he sort of set me up to become a tradesman.
Okay.
I hated it with an absolute passion. I hated it. I completely hated it. But I tend, not so much nowadays, but when I was a youngster, I tended to follow people, you know, instead of saying, "Oh, wait, I'm leading." Yeah. So I just happened to sort of accept I'm an apprentice electrician. It was like whatever. And then people would ask me and try and just me, "Electrician, but are you a house electrician or a normal electrician?" I said, "Well, I work on construction sites, you know." "Oh, so you're just the wireman?"
Oh.
And I said to the "Well, pull the other leg." Anyway, so that's how I used to get a laugh. And I remember, even though I was naughty, I was listless, I hated my job. You sort of convince yourself, okay, this is it. Because back in the day when I was left school and all that stuff, it was like, go do this, join the railways, do this, whatever. When you're 65, you'll retire, you'll be the foreman, and you'll have a valiant 2.3 kids and a tent or something like that, you know? And that was the sort of dream, wasn't it? So I realized at a very, very young beginning, I was about 19, this is not for me. But I couldn't get out. Okay. I happened to meet this really, really nice girl. I was working as a maintenance manager in a hotel, and I'd for the now 3 years had passed. 23, yeah. I was 22, 23. Yeah. So 3 years had passed, and I'd gone to every single club that I could possibly go to where there was entertainers, and I got rebuffed. I can't even tell you how many times. "Please give me 15 minutes. Please, in your interval, please." No. I went and I found out where the comics were coming. Comics used to perform on a Sunday. They used to do like a 2-hour set or hour break. And then I would go to the comics and say, "Please, man, please." No. And I was distraught. I was just horrible. You know? And I was walking down the road in Sea Point. I'd taken a bit of a break. Because I was working in this hotel. I thought I had to go out for a sort of mental break, if you will. And I bumped into this guy called Johnny Noble, who was the only guy that I hadn't approached out of all the famous comedians that were there in South Africa at the time, the British guys and the South African guys. He was the only guy that actually said to me, "You want to do what?" I want to be a comedian. And his words were to me, "Okay, let's pop into the shop here, the Wimpy, was it Wimpy? He said, "I'll buy you a coffee and I'm going to talk you out of it." And I said, "You will never talk me out of it. Give me a chance, please. Please, 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 please." So he said, "Well, go get a job." I said, "I can't. Nobody will give me a job." He said, "Okay, phone this guy and tell him I said so." So I went in and I got my first sort of gig. It was for a ladies' night. And now my jokes were all geared towards change room, football, bloke stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did this ladies' night, and Johnny was there with his wife, Pat. And then after I went up to him, I said, "How was that?" He said, "It was rubbish." And I was like, I was mortified. I said, "Oh no, does this mean I'll never be a comedian?" And his words to me were, "Actually, you are flippin' fantastic." And I said, "You just told me I was rubbish." He said, No, there's a difference. You're rubbish because you didn't put it together. So I said, "Will you help me?" He said, "Absolutely." And he was the kindest, most beautiful person that ever wanted to help. But he was the guy, and he was like so famous. He would take me on the road with him, and then he would go on stage and then have the people in fits of laughter because he was funny. But those days it was jokes.
Yeah.
Two guys walking down the road and no one said. And then he would stop his show and say, "Okay, guys, every now and again you meet somebody and you see somebody that's a rough diamond and it's your duty to shine them up." He says, "It's a baby, this guy." He says, "But when he gets on the stage, believe you me, you're never going to let him off." I was like, "Jeez."
High praise.
Yeah, but so he used to bring me on to this thunderous applause because he was this high up guy, and he told them this is flippin' funny. And we had a method. Johnny would stand at the very back of the room, making eye contact with me, and we had all different signs. If he did this, I was talking too fast. If he did that side, I needed to speed up. If he did something else, I wasn't talking articulately enough. I wasn't doing that. And he had all these little signs, and I could see. And we used to drink whiskey, okay? Like that. And when he did this, it meant stop.
Okay.
And that was his rules. So I will help you. I tell you what to do, you don't ask why. You just do it. And I said to him, why stop? He says, "Because I power, but I didn't have enough experience to carry that through." So that's when he realized, "Oh, no, okay, stop." And that's how he started. And so I started, and I worked like a flippin' dog, man. He got me my first gig in Port Elizabeth. So I come back after 3 months, and I got no work. Wow. Start again, because now I'm thinking I'm the main guy. Hey, because people were saying to me at the gig that I did, they said to me, "We have never seen somebody so much as funny as you." And the secret was, we pretended that I was from Liverpool. It's a true story.
Why?
Because in those days we had South African comedians versus British comedians on the television called Biltong and Potras.
Okay.
And my mom told me, she just loves the British comedians. And I said, "Why?" She said, "Because they're just funnier than South African comedians." And I was going, "No, but..." So now I'm looking for a little bit of extra work, and then Johnny tells me, "Go and knock on these doors of these agents." He says, "But I can't take you because it's a conflict." So after a long, long, long time being rebuffed all the time, I walked into this agent's office and I went like, look, I've heard you're looking for comedians. The guy said to me, where are you from? I said, Liverpool. Where do you think I'm from? Truthfully. He said, tell me a joke. So I told him his joke. Silly joke. And he howled with laughter. But I'd been telling people that joke. They would laugh, but not like this guy laughed. Oh, you guys from Liverpool are brilliant. Do you want a job? Yeah, okay. So we did it. So the next job we sent after, I went there and they called me and I was talking like that. Like that. And all the audience were going like this. This ook is brilliant. But yeah, I know, he's from Liverpool, you know. That's what used to happen. So they called me in after a while. And they said they need to extend my contract. And I was like elated. Yeah, great, we'll do that. No problem. We'll do it. So that's the story. And that's for years and years and years, people actually thought I was from Liverpool.
Oh my gosh.
And I just grew and grew. And so I went to this runway bar. And the runway bar was the notorious for being the hardest club to work.
Mm.
If you came through the runway bar unscathed, you were the business. Hence, they only imported British comedians. And it was a strip club. Well, that's how I got my work. And I went to Sun City afterwards, but I'm saying it was a strip club. And so the guys would go there. There'd be strippers, there'd be a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd introduce the strippers. And then in the meantime, they'd have lunch and then talk business. That's what it was. It was a business meeting place. But as it happened, it was right near the airport. So all of the guys in the air freight would congregate there every day. So I did 10 shows a week. So I was there in front of these guys all that time. And after about 4 months being there, I basically ran out of jokes. I could do 4 hours like that, no problem. But after a while, it gets hectic.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I said, you know what, guys? Because they're mostly the same guys.
Yeah.
I said to the guy, give me a subject, bro. I'll tell you a joke about it. And the guy said to me, the Queen of England.
Oof.
And I said, the Queen is not a subject. And that's how it started. So another guy said to me, give me a joke about bricks.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? Apparently, they say that your sister's quite a brick. He said, why? I said, well, she gets laid a lot. You know, that's what used to happen. And I would bang, 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 bang. Yeah. Tell me a joke about shoes. I don't know if you got the soul, bro. So that's what happened, you know. And that's how I became famous from doing that. Mm-hmm. Any subject. That's when I really exploded because people used to flock in and try and catch me. There was a great comic in South Africa at the time, Joe Parker. It was all the comics and Joe Parker was here. Joe Parker was the guy who used to tell long stories. Mm. It was great. And I befriended, I hated him in the beginning.
I have cause. It is because I hate him.
Because I wasn't on the stage. When I used to go watch him, I hated him. And he knows, Joe, we laugh about it. Because I would be in the audience and be watching this, and I think, please. And it's a horrible feeling. So that's the drive. I want to get there, you know.
One day my name is going to be up there.
And Joe said to me one day, Baz, you need to get out of this strip club stuff. So
and then
I said, how? He says, go to a restaurant and get a gig. And I went to this place called Hagen's in Dunkeld West in Joburg. And Joe Parker worked there. Mel Miller worked there. Cy Sachs, all the big names used to work there on a Sunday night. So I think it was Joe convinced this guy, the owners, to give me a go. And I got 6 people because nobody knew me. So give me another chance. So the next week I got like 8 people. Really, it was tough. And I had to do 4 hours.
Yeah.
So they came to me the 3rd week and I think I got 12 or something like that. The guy said, look, I'm sorry, this is it. We're going to give you one more chance because you're not pulling the guys. So, okay. I went back the 5th week. It was absolutely jam-packed. The 4th week. Man. And I worked there for like 2 years every Sunday. I smashed it. It was like 6, 8, 10 or 12 and then boom. Because the word, it gets out, you know. So that's how it started for me. If that answers your question.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've briefly touched on a few of your influences in the comedy world.
Yeah.
Are there any standouts that maybe you didn't work with, professionally, but who you still, to this day, you're like, this person?
He's dead now, Richard Pryor. He was just, he broke the mold. He broke the mold. Back in the day, you had to go on stage with a suit and tie, even in the strip club. You had to have a tie and bow tie or some stupid thing like that. And Richard Pryor, he was working for one of the big networks, and they brought him on and they humiliated him, actually. I used to watch it. I used to get tapes of the shows. And he was like that, okay, now a bit of comic relief, Richard. And they would like give him bad things, not nice things. And one day he arrived and they said, where's your suit? He said, don't need it. And he went on stage and then did his stuff, not their stuff they were telling him to do. And I think he got fired, actually, but he just blew me apart. I was like, I was finished. And then I got a gig, a summertime gig in Jersey. It's the Inn on the Park in St. Helier in Jersey. Very big. It was like one of the best gigs for 17 weeks. And that was like, if you get a gig, 17 weeks. Summer seasons were the big thing there, you see. So then the guy got cold feet because I'm South African. And then he phoned me up. He said, listen, we're a bit worried. We might have to cancel everything. And I said, oh, no. Back to square one. He said, however, Billy Connolly's coming here for 4 days. If you make your way here, we'll put you up and you can see what happens with Billy Connolly's audience.
Okay.
So I did it. I hammered these people. But I slayed them. The audience was massive. And on the third night, Billy Connolly himself, he doesn't know this, obviously doesn't, nothing, stopped at my change room before he was going on and said to me in his broad Scottish accent, you're very funny, but you need to stop telling jokes. Like that. Big influence. And as it happened, my marriage wasn't lacquer. I was hard, so I came back. And when I came back, I took Billy Connolly's words to heart, and I only told stories. It was very difficult in the beginning because my stories were okay, but they were funnier than jokes, if that made sense. I lost 3/4 of my fans. Oh, you got to England now. Now you think you may know. But I carried on because I used to think about Richard Pryor and Billy Connolly. And
now you've obviously been in the comedy scene for decades.
43 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
How would you describe the evolution of comedy in South Africa?
Well, I don't think it's only South Africa. I think it's the whole spectrum. Comedy has changed. Joke tellers, the guys used to stand on the mic and all that stuff. And then you'd get people who started telling stories. That's what I was doing. And then it became more observational. That's what I filled in a lot. And now it's more confrontational. Comedy, it's funny, there's some great comics out there. There really are some incredible comedians out there. However, I still preferred the older comics. They weren't telling jokes, but were doing skit shows and things like that. It was great. There's a guy called Dick Emery. He had these characters. And the one was this raving gay guy who used to have these outlandish outfits and all that stuff. And the guy would stop and he'd say, hello, Honky Tonk, how are you?
Oh, hello, Honky Tonks, how are you?
And then the whole joke would be about something, have you seen The Postman? I haven't seen him yet. Has he put anything in for you? He said, I wish he would. That was the type of stuff. It was so funny. But nowadays that's frowned upon because then you're homophobic, you this, you that, you that, you that. So the evolution has changed. I'm finding a lot of comics curse a lot. I'm no angel. Let me tell you something. I'm a normal bloke, okay? But from day one, I've never cursed on stage, ever.
Oh, wow.
Never. Never. So, unless I had to do what they call stag nights, then you have to sort of get a bit rough. So that's what it's evolved to that. I mean, but you still got to look at the guys, and there's some really funny guys out there.
They really are.
Yeah.
Especially the newer ones coming up.
Some
now.
great South African comics as well, eh? I'm telling you.
Now, like we've said, you've been in the industry for quite a while. Yep. You are now looking to make quite a big career change. But before you make that career change, is there any advice you're wanting to give to those, the emerging voices when it comes to comedy?
Yeah. Never, ever, ever give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Let's go! Let's go!
If you want to do something and you are true to yourself, nobody else, to yourself, and you say to yourself, have I got the talent to do that? If you say yes, then it's half the problem, okay? The next one is, you've got to ask yourself, okay, I've got the talent. Have I got the wherewithal to endure the crap that's coming your way?
Because there is always going to be.
Next one. And then then you'll say to yourself, can I endure the failures that are inevitable? So you've got to ask yourself those three things. And if you say, yes, I've got the talent, yes, I can handle the nonsense, and yes, I can handle the failures, you will succeed. The level of success depends on the world, how it's going on, whatever. Okay? If you take the Springbok rugby team, these guys have worked since they were 6 years old to get to that level. But they're at the mercy of the coach. You understand? So these brilliant players, but the coach says, nah, don't like him, out. That's what life is about. So, and when you get knocked back, that's the biggest hurdle you're going to get, because you will get knocked back. I tell you, I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've been told, oh, please, man, you're rubbish. Your jokes are garbage.
No.
Your jokes are this, your jokes are that, they're rubbish. But and then what you do, you have a really bad show. And whatever I'm talking about, anybody here now, whatever you want to do, you experience a bad time. And you think, I'm never going to do this again, because that's how you feel on stage. You just, that's it. I don't need this anymore. On stage, at work, or whatever. You go home, the winners wake up the next morning and say, I know how to fix that. That's the truth. But the losers go like, okay, let me go get a job selling cars. So when it came to my, I'm doing all this stuff. I've been all over the world. I had a bee in my bonnet about 8 or 9 years ago, 10 years ago, I think, Sandy, I said, I want to work on cruise liners because I thought it would help me. And I just felt like it. And I could work on cruise liners, but international cruise liners. Okay. In fact, I just got one yesterday. As I'm going to in December, I'm going to a big international cruise line. And people told me, you will never get on the cruise liners, because how are they going to understand you? Well, first of all, I talk English. So
bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye.
So never, ever, 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 ever give up, providing those three things you can answer, yes, I can, I will, I'll do it. I think that's some very good advice there.
I think so.
Too many youngsters I've found do 5 minutes or 8 minutes at a comedy club. Now, there's loads of comedy clubs all over the place, but they pay nothing. But it's good for practice. It's a good thing. And it's a good way to get your name out there. You've got to graft. You understand? But some of these guys, they are so arrogant. I'm thinking, what is this guy? I did a show, Carnival City, 4,200 people, sold out
Wow.
2 months before I did the show. So I hear about this young comic in Durban, and I phoned him up. I said, hi, it's Barry. Oh, he said, oh, hello. Why are you phoning me? I said, well, I've got an opportunity for you. Yes. I said, I've heard you're good. He said, I am probably the best comic in the country. Like that to me. I was okay. I said, I'll tell you what, I've got this gig, 4,200 people. If you can get to Joburg, which is 4.5 hours drive,
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you open for me. You know what he said to me? How much am I going to get paid? I said, let me rephrase that again. If you can get yourself to here, I will let you open for me in front of a crowd of 4,200 people, sold out arena. I know, but how much money am I getting? I said, dude, do you not understand? I'm giving you this massive chance. You know, he said to me, yeah, but you're getting paid.
I mean, it's
I
your
said,
show.
thanks, have a nice day. Put the phone down. I didn't use him, so I'll never use him again, ever. Even if he came begging, I wouldn't do it because he was very rude and very arrogant and just sharp. Terrible. So you must have humility. You must understand that there are people who are and always will be better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think you're just the main oak, now you can cruise. Because when you get to that level of, say, I did 25 years ago, I didn't say, I'm the main oak. I grafted. And I made some tough decisions, and I wrote and I did things like that, and I made mistakes, but I never gave up, and I still don't give up. So that's why when I decided I'm going to do this inspirational talk, it's been bugging me. My beautiful wife Sandy is like she's the one that helps me with the drive. You know what I'm saying? She's the one that helps me all the time. And I had a really bad episode. I ended up in a clinic because I had a complete breakdown because of and this little thing in your head, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, scared. So while I was in the clinic, I thought to myself, I've got a story to tell you. It's taken me 5 years to get to where I am now because I tried it. What I love about my wife, Sandy, I try. What do you think? No, it's not going to work. Okay. How about this?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. No, it's not going to work. What about this? And I got better and better every time. For my talk, I can't call Sandy because she won't answer me now. I've probably been rebuffed 100 times. At least. Just nod if you agree, Sans. Yes. I've been rebuffed about 100 times. Probably more. There we go. Probably more. So, you see. And I said, I can't give up on this because I know I've got something special here. And a friend of mine, his life partner, she works for a huge company that looks after people, their well-being, and other companies. And she put my name forward. But I'd proposed to her 10 ideas of what my talk would be. And because she's my friend, she would say, no, it's not going to work. You need to do this. Okay. No. And then she did it. And then she said to me, this is the one. This is the one. So I went on, I was petrified. Yet I am Barry Hilton. I worked at 7,000 shows in my life plus. I had to have this idiot boards in front of me. And I put all this thing in order and tried to do it. It was an absolute nightmare because I was rubbish. It's, hello, I'm open it. I was garbage. But eventually, when I listened to my wife, who said to me, Barry, you don't need those things. Why don't you do it like you do it on stage, off the cuff? yes, we have to have a story, which now I've linked. You've heard it.
Yes.
From one there to there, and it's all linked with these bad things that have happened in my life, but how I've beaten it with humor. Okay. Now all of a sudden people are going, wow. But there's another hurdle. Public speakers and things like that usually get booked 3, 4, 5 months in advance because they've got to get this guy. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's slowly coming in. I had a massive gig in Joburg. Was just the guy cancelled the whole gig. I was just part of the gig, but he cancelled the whole thing. I think it was yesterday or the day before. But we only found out when we actually phoned him just to confirm the flights and things like that. And he gave Sandy this whole speech. You know, things have been tough. Look, he's a grafter, this kid. There's not even a question about it. He really works hard and he tries hard. But I think maybe you don't realize times are tough at this moment in time.
They really are.
So if that answers your question, never, ever, ever, ever give up, providing you have the criteria to move on. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. The amount of times I've been to like a braai or something like that, and somebody will say to me, "This is my friend, he's funnier than you." And I said, well, great. That used to upset me. Now I go, oh, that's fantastic. When you're working. So no, I don't work, but I am funnier than you. I said, great. Be my guest. So that's the final bit. You have to realize where your limit is, where your edge is, and stay there and but never stop working. Carry on.
Now you've touched a bit on you know your talks that you were doing. Now, so like we said, we are in the process of moving from comedy into like a bit of corporate speaking. But now, what prompted this whole transition? I mean, how did the shift feel almost for you creatively?
Mental breakdown. When I realized that I'm in this loop in South Africa and I've reached a certain level in South Africa, and my only other option was to go overseas. I was offered management in Australia when I did Sydney Opera House, but it would have meant to uproot the whole family, go there, work for 1.5 years, 2 years to get my name out there, So, yeah, I just decided my new direction is this, and I'm going to stick to it. And I asked myself those 4 little criterias.
I actually want to discuss, I want to know more about your talk, My Life in 3D.
Ah, wow, good. That actually came apart when I had that little episode in the clinic. And I realized that I can actually, people will listen to me and I can let people take some serious knowledge home, working the fact that resilience is a key. Humor is a fabulous tool, and it teaches you resilience because you are going to get ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. So, yeah. You know how many people out there that are suffering from some sort of mental fatigue? That's why they stay off work. That's why they do this. That's why they're unhappy. That's why this and that. It's boiled down to that. Pressure.
I actually think we are running out of time to chat today.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't.
Has it been boring? Or?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But Barry, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Brilliant.
It was honestly such a fun chat.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Next time on the Training Portal podcast.
The environments that they spend the most amount of time in, it happens, everything happens in the context or the soup of how they feel. If they feel safe, if they know that they're safe, they're getting a lot of reciprocal care, a lot of love. That's almost the glue that's going to help us bind everything else. The interactions with parents, with other people, and just we know that the more rich and stimulating an environment is, again, we get back to those connections. The more connections grow and the more the kids can actually then develop later on.